So I've just come fresh off shooting season 7 for Scrap It TV, first round of shooting anyway, and I wanted to bring you a quick video of a card that I didn't get to use on the show, but I want to show you how to make it now. So here we go. Okay, first things first, I've got some pattern paper here. I've actually got 3 sheets stacked all on top of each other, and what we're going to do with this triple stack of pattern paper is make sure they're perfectly lined up, and I'm going to cut a piece that is the same width as my card base and about 2.5 inches wide. So I'm just going to use a craft knife. You can do this of course on your trimmer, and your measurements will depend very much on the measurement of the card base that you're doing. You can use this for full-size cards and use it for mini cards, no problem at all. And I'm cutting all 3 at once to be sure that they're all the same size and they're all lined up. Okay, so the rest can just go to the side, and this is what we have left. What we want to do with this is to have one central point. We're actually going to cut slices from it, okay? Doesn't matter where your central point is, but you can use a ruler to cut your central points. The biggest trick is keeping them all together. If they keep sort of moving around and not stacking properly and the edges lining up straight, use a paper clip or a bulldog clip or something like that to hold them together. As you cut the slices off, just keep them stacked and pop them to the side and move around and cut all the slices. And the reason we cut all 3 at once is so that when we put them together, they will all line up. Out of this stack, we're actually going to be able to make 3 cards. The fan will be different, but, well, the design will be the same, but the pattern papers, of course, will line up differently. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut the rest of these. There we go, they are done. The next thing I've done is added some adhesive on that bottom 2.5 inch strip. And we're going to start adding the pieces, the wedges of pattern paper. So this one I'm going to do first, right in the fold, line it up across the bottom and line it up the side, and that means all the rest will go on nice and neat. We're going to alternate between them so that of course we've got different pieces of pattern paper. And as long as you butt these cut edges up against each other, that's going to work out really, really well. So you just keep going around and adding these wedges on. Make sure it's lined up, and do take the time to line it up. And then we'll go back to the stripe, this corner here. If the other side is actually overhanging just a little, it's better to err on the side of cutting your piece a tad too wide than cutting it a tad too short. And this one once more, because you can always trim it at the other side. So there you go, we have our flare, our sunburst, whatever you want to call it, stuck on down the bottom of the card. Next job is to hide that, because you know it's not particularly attractive. There's a couple of ways you can do that. You could use a 4th piece of pattern paper. Today I'm going to use a piece of cardstock that just works together with the colour scheme. I might actually secure that in the centre as well. Or you could use ribbon, or you could use washi tape, but keep in mind that when you're using washi tape it is a little bit see-through, and so you may see the edges of your paper, and the whole point is that we're trying to hide that. Just take that backing off. This piece is a little wide, but that's okay because I can trim it down. No worries at all. I'm going to line it up on the edge. We're going to hide the top. In fact, I might just shift that up a little further so we get the maximum amount of that showing. Just give that a little trim. Normally I don't advocate trimming with scissors, but when it's down the side of the card, and I'll just trim the excess paper off as well, at least you have a guideline to go by. So there we go, we've hidden our edge line. Now there's only one more thing to do, and that's add the embellishments. What I have here are 3 flowers. I've got an old dictionary that actually got damaged, so I've decided to use the pages for crafting. I've taken a scallop circle punch and cut out 3 of them. The next thing I'm going to do is actually screw them up. I know, just bear with me, it's going to look good in a second. And then I'm going to flatten them back out. Now if you find that you've got one that says something a little bit more profound than all the others, or has a particular quote, you can have a look on both sides. May as well put that one on top. Line them up just roughly, it doesn't have to be perfect. And we're going to just estimate the center, and I'm cutting a little hole in it. That just means that the brad I'm using is going to slip through that much easier. You can thread them on one at a time, but if you hold it together really well, you can put in all 3 at once. So we've got this little brad split pin. I'm just going to split that out on the back and add some really good double-sided tape, a couple of pieces. If you find that your brad doesn't hold them really securely too, you can put a little bit of double-sided tape in between the layers. It just stops them spinning around, you know, if that's a problem. And there we go. Make sure your writing is the right way up. Stick down your embellishment, and from there you can give it a little bit more of a scrunch, turn up the edges. And there's only one more thing to do, that's add the greeting. Last but not least, let us put a greeting on this. Today I'm actually using a greeting from this Sweet Stamp Shop set called Foxy. I'm going to use the congrats greeting on there. You could of course use another greeting. This is another one of my favorites. It's the Sweet Stamp Shop greeting set, and it's got some really cool, very on-trend greetings on here. I think in Australia the only one we wouldn't use is Happy Thanksgiving, but all of the rest of them are great. Particularly I like that it's got say what and dude. Okay, it's got a whole bunch of punctuation marks in there. If you're looking for either of those stamp shops, stamp sets, I apologize, you can find them in my online store, and I always have new stock coming in. I order regularly. I've just inked up with some Stays On ink. Now my trick for inking, so that because I'm stamping straight on the card here, which isn't something I usually do, is to apply the ink pad to your stamp rather than apply the stamp to the ink pad. And I'm just wiping off a little bit there. It just gives you a little bit more control over it, and pretty much going to center that in the blank space and press it straight down, even pressure, and straight up, and boom, I've got my great little greeting on my card. So this is a great little congrats card for graduation or driver's license, or I don't know, anything that anybody does great and you want to send them little cards so that they know that you are thinking of them. Quick cleanup is all you need of your stamp. If you're using Stays On ink, I do recommend that you invest in a stamp cleaner. You can get one specifically for Stays On. I'm using the Stamping Up one just because I've had it for years and it works really well. This is called a Magic Carpet. Stamping Up has one. There's heaps of places you can get them, and if you look at my video on stamping, there's a whole bunch more information on there. I'm going to peel this off, put it back in the set, and it's time for me to use up these other pieces I've got here. I'll make 2 more cards with different greetings. So there we have it, the final 3 cards. You can see that the design is the same, but because I've used all of the pattern papers, I've split them up so they're all in a slightly different order, but we only had to cut that lot out one time, which is pretty cool. My final tip would be, if you don't want to cut up a dictionary page or a book page, just photocopy a page and then you can punch that up, tear it up and use it. You can ink it and all sorts of things, and it means if you're a bit nervous about cutting up a book, you don't have to worry about that. I hope you enjoyed this project. Why not dig into your stash and have a go at this starburst or sunburst technique yourself? You can find Sweet Stamp Shop stamp sets in my shop at www.dawnlewis.com.au. I'll put a link below so that you can find it nice and easy. I also have just a few kits available so that you can make the exact same cards. So you can make a set of 3 while you try it out, and it'll look the same as the one I made on the video. If you would like to see more crafty videos, please subscribe to my channel and maybe share it with your crafty friends so they can have a go too. Now go unleash your creativity. Thanks for watching. Bye.